Hey there, thanks so much for joining me today. This is Laura Lynn with KeepInkingUp.com. I'm an independent demonstrator for Stampin' Up! In San Antonio, Texas. And today I want to share a couple of tips about our classic ink pads. In general, it is recommended that you store ink pads upside down. That way gravity pulls the ink to the surface of the pad itself, allowing you to get the best possible inked image when you bring your stamp to it. And that idea is designed into Stampin' Up's ink pads. When they are in the closed position for storage, the pad itself is already upside down because it's on the inside of our lid. So to open our ink pad, you simply hold the ink pad with one hand, and with the thumb of your other hand, you're going to push on these three dots on the lid, push it away from you, flip it up, pull it towards you, slide it away from you until you hear it lock into the open position, and now it's ready to stamp. Now you may notice I have some color labels on the inside of my lid. This is not absolutely necessary. It's just something that I do for my aging eyes. I often have 3 or 4 ink pads open at the same time, and several ink pads to me look very similar when they are open. This, for example, is a rich raspberry, and this is cherry cobbler. But if I didn't have those labels, I might have a difficult time telling them apart, and I might put my stamp into the wrong color. I find these labels on the bottom of the ink pad. When I first get it, I take the top label off, which is in English, and I put that on the end of the ink pad so I can identify it when it's in my ink caddy. But there are 3 additional stickers on there in other languages. I believe they are French, German, and Spanish. And you can see here I just cut off the solid part of the other label and put that on the inside of my lids. Again, it's not necessary. It's just something that I do to help myself, and maybe it'll help you as well. Now this ink pad is ready to stamp, so what I'm going to do is bring in a stamp, and this is the most important part of the video, which is why I want to do this. I often see people really smash down their stamp into the pad, and that is absolutely not necessary and actually might cause some frustration because you get ink everywhere. Our pads are made of a firm foam material, so they ink up stamps very easily without a lot of effort. You just need to lightly tap, maybe 3 or 4 times. Just go tap, 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 and I'll check it to see if there's ink on there. It looks pretty good, but I'll go ahead and tap it a few times usually, just out of habit. I'm going to bring in a piece of paper, and I'm going to stamp the image down. I'm going to hold it for just a couple of seconds to allow the ink to transfer to the paper. I'm going to pull straight up, and there I have a lovely inked image. You can see that. Now, if you find that your image is a little bit splotchy, maybe not very solid, it might be time to re-ink your ink pad. I always recommend to my customers that they go ahead and purchase an ink refill every time you get an ink pad. That way, whenever you do find that you need to re-ink it, you are ready to go and you don't need to place another order and wait until it comes in for you to re-ink your pad. To re-ink it, you simply squeeze some ink onto your pad. Squeeze a little bit on there. You can see it's already kind of soaking in. And then I take a little plastic spoon. I happen to have a lot of these spoons. You can use anything you have on hand, maybe a popsicle stick or a plastic spoon or an old credit card, anything that you can move the ink around with. And I move the ink in one direction, and then I turn it and I go in the other direction just to spread the ink around as even as possible. And I can throw that away. And now I can pull in my paper. I can tap, 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 and stamp. Hold for a few seconds, pull up, and there my image is a little bit darker because I just re-inked it. So to close our ink pads, I put my fingers on the inside of the lid here by my stickers. I pull toward myself all the way, flip it, and close it in the locked position, and now it's ready to be stored away. So I hope that you find those tips helpful. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you again so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.